Hello, and welcome to the Sovereign Collective podcast, where we bring you real, raw truth for your self-empowerment. I'm your host, Sascha, and I believe that you can stand on your own 2 feet, but that you don't have to do it alone. I love learning from people who continually strive to raise the bar, to go against mainstream thinking, and who dare to question the general consensus. People who risk being ridiculed or even risk the loss of their professional status as they bravely question the common narratives and challenge the rest of us to expand our minds and to reconsider what we think we already know. Join me in learning how to take control of your health and your mind so that you can have the energy to think more clearly and the confidence to step up and take responsibility for all aspects of your life. We promise to never censor here because I believe you are strong enough to hear the real, raw truth to make up your own mind. If you like what you find here at the Sovereign Collective podcast, then please share with your friends and family. I so appreciate you. Thank you for tuning in. And now, on to the show. Hello, everyone. Welcome to another interview of the Sovereign Collective podcast. Today I'm with Darlene Greene, and we're going to be talking about some technology and a patch that allows you to tap in and I think supercharge your own innate and divine capacity to heal. But first of all, if you're listening to this in video form and you're missing some of the videos, go to my BitChute channel, the Sovereign Collective podcast. As Sascha says on YouTube, some of the interviews get censored on YouTube, so head on over to BitChute if you want. Otherwise, go to Podbean, iTunes, and Spotify. Like, share, and subscribe, and share with everyone because it's time more than ever before. We've got to take control of our health. The time is now, and if you don't do it now, you don't know what you could be preventing in the future. And it's not even about just prevention; it's about it's attaining what truly is possible in this lifetime. But the prevention part is also key, and we're going to get into that with Darlene today because she has a very intimate and touching story with her husband in this regard specifically. So sometimes you don't know what you don't know, what's going on in the body. And if you can tune in to your own intelligence to heal, then why not do it sooner than later? So stay tuned to the end of this episode to learn more about how you can get involved with this if this piques your interest. There'll be more information shared about that. But first, let's get into what the heck I am talking about. I found Darlene, just so you know, on a podcast when I was looking into, GHK-Cu, it's a peptide I've been enamored with for years. And I've been looking into, here's the book by Lauren Picard, who is the man who first discovered this peptide about 50 years ago. So I'm looking into information about GHK-Cu. I find this podcast with Darlene speaking to this copper peptide. And lo and behold, we get all sorts of amazing information. It goes into this other product that I'm talking about that I didn't even know was on there. So we're going to talk with Darlene today and learn about how this peptide and some other things have changed her life. First of all, coming from a past of pain and a lot of diagnoses and the military, very different life that you've had than many. So Darlene, thank you for being here today. I look forward to spending some time with you and hearing about your story. You have a lot of good and helpful information to share.
Thank you, Sascha. What an honor it is to be with you. I love your podcast, and I'm grateful that you do it because I think lately your podcasts and podcasts like it are the only place we can hear the truth.
And the truth is more important than ever. You should see what Canada, the bill they're trying to push through right now. Censorship like you've never... It's unbelievable. So yes, I agree. And that's why I started it. That's exactly why I started this podcast, because to be part of the truth movement. So Darlene, tell us a little bit, first of all, about your background, where you came from, what you did and what you've overcome and why I'm even talking to you today.
Sure. Well, so I have an unusual background, actually. 20 years in the Navy. I'm a retired U.S. Navy commander. I had 3 commanding officer tours. My last tour, I oversaw 1,200 people, 800 Navy, 400 Marines. I helped to establish a one-of-a-kind program called the Returning Warrior Weekend program to help reintegrate warriors and their families to improve their wellness. Way back in 2005, it is a program that still exists today.
Oh, wow.
Found federal funding that protected it. 100% of people that went through the program said it really helped them and they recommended it further. So I had a heart for helping people with their emotional, mental, and physical health issues way back that really stemmed from my own personal challenges. I think it was 1996 that I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome, and 99 fibromyalgia, chronic fatigue, just these autoimmune disorders. 2000, some middle 2000s, I was diagnosed with POTS, which, you're familiar with, is postural orthostatic tachycardia. I was basically said, you need to take a medicine to raise your blood pressure to keep from passing out and fainting. And I had decades of migraines and rosacea and things. So to say, and I did healthy eating, I exercised, I meditated, like I did see I saw Chinese doctors, I did naturopathic doctors. Like I started my alternative health journey way back in 96 when I was first told you have chronic fatigue syndrome, because my Western military medical doctor said, we have no idea what to do with that. Like Chinese doctor. Now I give him credit for having said, like, we don't have anything for this. We don't know what to do with this. Go see someone else. Like, so that really launched it. So to say, I was able, and the other thing I had was PTSD, actually. So I also had PTSD when I launched that Returning Warrior Weekend. So I had a lot of things that I'd learned, stress management, like a lot of things. So health has been a part of my life all along. But so 20 years in the Navy, rolled out, became in the network and technology space, oversaw architects, engineers, project managers, was a vice president for McAfee and the software side of the house, rolled into being a dean of a boarding school that was a leadership school because I loved leadership. That was really my forte, and helped at the Culver Girls Academy. That was fantastic. And then consulting, and then back into network and security. And then I forayed right into the health industry again in a very big, different way, when my husband and the love of my life and just the most incredible man on the planet got diagnosed with Alzheimer's. So this was really the beginning. And, I knew enough at this point in time to not trust Western med. I mean, I knew, right, that not everything should be a pharmaceutical drug, and not everything can be surgery. And while they have their place, just like you say, there's a place, what's possible. And I just want you to know how out of the box we were. We tried everything I knew to try at the time. Mold detox, right? Gut microbiome, DNA testing, gene testing, hyperbaric chamber with ozone therapy, pull the blood out, spin it, put it back in right after the hyperbaric chamber, like within 30 minutes, several times a week. We did pulse electromagnetic frequency map, microcurrent, osteopath manipulation, super clean diet, certainly no alcohol, soda, white flour, sugar, genetically modified anything, seed oils, right? We grass-fed, grass-finished. We followed the Dr. Bredesen protocol for Alzheimer's. We did a glucose monitor, insulin tracking. We did daily exercise. We did hydrogen water. We did, then nothing working. We took the desperate measure of going out of country, and we got stem cells, placenta stem cells via IVN injection, not just once at $20,000 for him. And we did it for me too, for all my autoimmune stuff, not twice, but they recommended it quarterly. So we did 4 treatments of mesenchymal stem cells. No effect whatsoever.
Nothing.
Nothing.
Wow.
Now, I want to share with you that along the way, one of the things that was happening was I had care providers, I had doctors saying to me, Darlene, you really, you need to really take care of yourself through this process, because the caregiver often goes first. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I'm very young. What do you mean? And they're like, I mean, like 50% of the time, the caregiver dies first. And I'm like, holy cow. And at this point in time, I by the time I finally found this technology, I was like a perfect example of just me falling apart. Like, I missed the last 3 steps of my house. I fell, I broke my foot, I sprained my ankle, I was in excruciating pain, I was clinically depressed. My husband had Alzheimer's. My husband was at a place in time where he could not get a glass of water. He was essentially sleeping the day away. And I mean like 3.5 hour naps where you would go, I'd check on him to see, are you breathing? Are you awake? Are you alive? He was no longer really engaging in conversation or trying to talk. It was in his personality to be funny and flirty. And I mean, if he was moving his mouth, he was trying to be funny his whole life, right? And then but he wasn't anymore. And so
When did he get the diagnosis?
2004.
Oh, 2004.
No. Sorry. That's 2025, 2021.
Oh,
So
okay.
2004 is when we met.
Okay.
2007 we got married, nonetheless. Anyway, so yeah, just 4 years ago, essentially. So we tried all of these things, and at the moment in time when my hairdresser says to me, "Hey, there's a patch. It actually elevates your copper peptide." Copper peptide, if you go to PubMed and you look at all, there's 50 years of studies that show all of the amazing things copper peptide does, which we can talk about later. But it is going to be really helpful. It's really proven to be incredibly beneficial to this family and this family. And I was just like, it's like, sure. Zero belief, Sascha, zero. But I was like, bring it on. They're like, oh, it's really not that expensive. And it really isn't that expensive, particularly compared to the amount of money I was spending out of country or on all of these other things. So we began to try these tiny little quarter-sized patches. I didn't really understand how they worked when I started. I didn't really understand that there were 120 clinical studies. I did not understand anything. I was just desperate. I was just that desperate. So we patched him, we patched me. And I will tell you, it was so shocking how quickly we both responded. Now, to be fair, Sascha, one of the things that we did wrong, and I would never do with my clients now, is I would never patch them with everything.
Yeah.
I put every single patch that there is, and we can talk about all the different kinds, on him and all of them on me day one. And every
Wow. Oh, that can be a lot.
I would never do that with anybody now, but that's what we did. I will tell you though, in the first day, he didn't take that 3.5 hour nap. He immediately began engaging in conversation like a dam broke. He had all this stuff to say. He was probably by day 2 or 3 back to trying to be funny and back to being funny and flirty and not asking me the same question 7 times in 2 minutes. It was really, really extraordinary. And more like he not only had more energy, but he got better deep sleep in the second week. And over time, his blood pressure dropped, his cholesterol dropped, his sense of smell, which is an early warning indicator for Alzheimer's, if people don't know that, especially not related to any viruses. But it was 20 years prior that he had lost his sense of smell in 5 months of patching, and he got his sense of smell back. I mean, it was extraordinary. So all of these things happening for him. And then, and his hair grew back. Actually, he had a bald spot. His hair kind of grew back darker and he could whistle and drum again. A cyst that was like the marble size. For as long as I've known him, 20 years, it was on his, like a big marble underneath, just not painful, but just disappeared. So all of these things happened for him. And I was super excited. I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is the only thing that's done anything, and it's making such a difference for him.
How far in from the diagnosis did you start the patching?
It was probably 2.5 years in.
Okay.
2.5 years in, which really means that he had it for 22.5 years. Like, you really have Alzheimer's a really long time before you start getting the diagnosis, before the symptoms begin to show. So then for me, I began, I told you all these autoimmune, I had a broken foot and sprained ankle. I was actually going to get surgery the following week. But I got out of pain instantaneously on the pain relief patches. And I mean, so much so that I didn't believe it. I thought, all right, this just must be the time in 5 months that I actually lose the pain. Because I just could not understand like how I didn't really know anything about energy. I really just didn't understand. It just blows your mind. So I didn't believe it.
A
Even when
lot of people have that response.
working on me, it's like, this is a placebo effect, or this is in my head, or something's going on. So, but you wear them 12 hours on, you take them off after 12 hours. I took them off to go to bed that night, and within 5 minutes, my ankle is throbbing back to in this horrible pain. I'm like, okay, I believe. But other things, I no longer, well, I had amazing energy. I mean, you can imagine, right, throwing all those patches on you, especially the ones that make energy and all of them, right? So I was in the kitchen cooking up a storm, more than I'd ever cooked in a year. I think I was cooking that week, thinking, I don't know why I hated cooking so much. This isn't so bad. Because I really didn't like cooking. But when you're trying to feed your husband all of those healthy things, there's no getting anything out in the world, because it's all seed oils or toxins, or it's not organic, or it's not grass fed. I mean, there's just no way, right? So you have to cook. So anyway, I was doing that. I got better sleep, both of us better sleep. But what I noticed fairly quickly, I would say in 2 or 3 weeks, that sadness just disappeared. So all of that just lifted in a way that I couldn't even imagine. The need for a medicine that I had used for 17 years, that medicine, fludrocortisol, where I had to increase my blood pressure so I did not pass out, that I no longer needed it. I no longer needed it ever again. And on top of that, symptoms of all of the autoimmune issues disappeared over time. I actually got so much hair growth. I looked like a baby chick. I had all this little tiny baby hair growth. I really was like, I was just
saw that in one of your interviews. Yeah.
So it was really incredible. And so right out of the gate, I am thinking, what is this? How do I not know anything about this? Let me take a look. What do I have my hands on here? And at first you're like, Mom, Dad, you need this. Sis, you need this. Cousin, uncle, aunt, right? Loved ones, right? Best friends, right?
Yeah.
Just you guys, you can't believe what I'm experiencing. And so we began to dive into reading the studies, learning about it, and really thinking, wow. And I will tell you, honestly, when I heard people like Tom Brady wear the patches, Serena Williams, Michael Phelps, the Kansas City Chiefs, the Philadelphia Eagles, RFK, the strongest man in the world, brain specialists, Olympians, hundreds of Olympians. I was mad. I was like, what? How? I did a heck of a lot of research for my husband. I tried this laundry list of things. Nowhere did I ever run across this. So that is why I am doing podcasts with you, for example, because there is someone out there today who is where I was, or earlier, preferably earlier, right? And they are gonna take and get benefit. I want to share that my husband did not reverse his Alzheimer's. He did end up passing away this past March. And it was, you know that the patches were doing good for him. Like you never, after a year and a half of patching, you don't know how much good until you take them off of him and you stop patching. And as I mentioned to you earlier, there was a dramatic, precipitous decline in his health when we put him on hospice and stopped patching him. He went from being able to throw the football in the backyard to not being able to eat within a week. That's how much the patches were helping. And that was really, 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 really hard. But it was time to let him go. It was no longer it was not fair to him to keep him in that state. he had indicated when he could really early on that he wanted to be let go. And I was just like, no, we're going to fight, 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 fight.
Right.
And there was a time and we finally realized this is not, it's not kind.
Yeah, but what happened? But that's the thing, you don't know. Had you known about them when you were doing all the research for yourself and going through all these things
Yeah.
5 years ago, 10 years ago,
Yes.
like even just when you're trying to fix yourself, like what, I mean, you can't regret it, but you can't help but be curious and wonder.
Yeah, and I know that there are testimonials of people who have had what my husband had and who have had amazing results that were better than my husband's, scans that are cleared and things that, we have to be careful not to state that we
Right.
cure or
Say that.
treat
Right.
anything, even when they do. Like we just can't say that. I mean, we can say that we had these symptoms and then the symptoms are gone,
Right.
but we can't say that, this resolved my autoimmune diseases.
Disclaimer, folks, we're not treating, diagnosing, claiming to cure anything, but we are sharing people's real life stories of before and afters.
That's right.
So
Right.
take that, make your own decisions around that.
That's right.
So-
Yeah.
And now, so for you, so you're all the prior things, like, so now you're still packed. Now, do you feel that for yourself, you've gotten permanent changes? Like if you were to take them all off right now, would you think you would revert back to the person who was depressed and PTSD'd and tired and in pain and all the things?
That's an excellent question, Sascha. I will tell you, I haven't, because I've been on a grief journey, right? It's a fairly significant grief journey to lose the love of your life and your best friend and the partner. And
Yeah.
did not like, so I know my body's been under assault from a level of stress, even just care providing, the level of stress care providing. And it did not, even in spite of the patches, like when he, up until the point when he died, even I was doing all the things, meditating, walking, therapy, all the things I knew to do. And even still, after he passed away, I felt like somebody had just like punched me in the chest and like tasered my heart. And I thought, this is what broken heart syndrome feels like. I was Googling it, like, can you die of broken heart syndrome? And I mean, it just hurts physically. And, you finally like can have all the emotions. When you're a care provider, you're kind of in the fix it stage or the do these things stage. And it's a transition to really let yourself grieve. So I will say that there was it took a toll. It took a toll. And I don't know, I am doing really, really well. And I think it's in large part because of the patches that I'm doing really well, emotionally, physically. But there was a journey, and I actually had to rest. I actually had to spend some downtime and, give myself permission to rest and grieve. And but no, to answer your original question, I don't believe those things are a part of me anymore. I actually, I don't know. Oh, this is going to sound so bad, because for so often I was told, oh, chronic fatigue syndrome, fibromyalgia, they're all in your head. And I don't believe that at all. I believe they're absolutely not. But I will say this. I don't think Western medicine understands them. I think they're a little bucket of symptoms. They don't know what to do with. There's no medicine. There's no surgery. They don't know what to do. So they just kind of go, yeah, that's that. But we don't really know what to tell you. They might even offer some, some medicines that help with pain or try to do things with inflammation, but all medicines have these side effects, right? So I don't think those are a part of my life anymore. My testing of my, all of my tests don't reflect that anymore. You could do a fibromyalgia test on me. I don't have that anymore. And I don't think it's at all about me patching, because what's happening when you wear these patches, first, this elevation of copper peptide, and let's stop for a moment and pause and pull the thread a little bit on copper peptide. You have a book, I have several books as well on copper peptide. Had never heard of it before, but it is something that your audience can can Google and look in PubMed around GHK, and you can find 50 years of studies. What they know that GHK-Cu does is they know that it increases your body's stem cells. Your dormant when you're 30, half of your stem cells are dormant. When you're 60, they're almost all dormant. I am 60 years old. My stem cells would have been completely dormant at this point in time before patching. And so in having copper peptide. Now, how do you get copper peptide? Well, you can inject it. There are clinical, and there are clinics, there are even cancer clinics that inject, because one of the other benefits of GHK-Cu is it is resetting the programmed cell death of cancer cells, including resetting 84 genes to protect against cancer. It actually resets 4,200 genes to a younger and healthier state. That in and of itself makes it one of the most powerful peptides on the planet and your body. And people don't really know about it yet. It will, I think someday, David Schmidt always says that he thinks that there ought to be a Nobel Prize for the person who found and really did all the research on GHK-Cu. But it also, GHK-Cu produces growth factors. It improves the brain and the nerves, and it's actually got very good neuroprotective properties. So even promoting nerve growth, I mean, what does that? Improves heart health, reduces fibrinogen, increases myostatin, increases healing and tissue repair, protects the lung cells, lengthens telomeres. I mean, all of these things from GHK-Cu. And I talked to one doctor who said 4 injections of GHK-Cu in a day did not elevate copper peptide as much as 1 patch.
Oh, good. I'm glad you said that, because we're going to get into what these patches are in a second here. But first, I have a question about that, because that's what I wonder. People are getting injected. I actually have that copper peptide at home. I have a cream with the copper peptide. I've had it before I even started using these. But how does it compare? Well, do you have data on that? How it compares to?
Well, I don't have
it.
I just heard her. She measured, and she said that is my finding. And she there aren't many people that it's hard to measure copper peptide. So you can look in our patent and you can see that the patch elevates copper peptide. So it's a really fascinating thing.
Yes, because I'm wondering, because people, like for me, so shortly, let's get into how these actually work and how it's doing this. People are like, what are you going to inject? How is it getting in you? How's that happening? But what I love about this is endogenous. It's the own body's innate intelligence and capacity to do this, rather than deciding, I need this many milligrams of this and this many milligrams of this, and we're going to put it over here and do it there, where the body knows. And I think it's time we start really tapping into the power of the human body. So. Yeah. Before we get more into all that and the other patches, so you're talking specifically, and I got a whole box of all my patches right here. You're talking about that X39 patch. For guys, if you're not seeing that, I'm just holding up a little picture there on the video. So these are these little patches. So explain the patches before we go further in. Let's explain the actual patches themselves.
Yeah, let's talk about how they work. So first of all, these have been in production for 20 years. So this is not new technology. Again, over 120 clinical studies. How does it work? Non-transdermal. That means nothing is going in the skin. You can actually put this patch on the outside of your shirt. It's going to work just as well as on your skin. It can be facing any direction. And let's talk about how it's light therapy. So we know that light therapy has been used for 5,000 years. We know when you go out in the sun, your body gets a light signal onto your skin and it makes vitamin D or melanin, right? We know these things happen. That is, in fact, photobiomodulation. That's a very big word for light therapy. But we also know, if I were to look at you, Sascha, with night vision goggles on, and your audience has seen it in the movies, you glow, right? You glow. We can see you through walls. We see actually light in bodies. So what is happening is within this patch is a little, it's basically organic materials and nanocrystals, salts and sugars, and not the kind you eat, but the kind that can make this crystal inside. And it is created a lattice structure that is reflecting your own body's light back into you at a very specific wavelength. Different patches, different wavelengths, different effects. So the one that we spend the most time talking about is the one that you pointed out, the X39. It is the most powerful patch in the arsenal. A lot of people will just talk about that patch. They won't even discuss that we have any other patches because that patch is that powerful. It is used by a lot of practitioners, from the very famous, I don't know if you've met Dr. Shiner. He is a very famous plastic surgeon. He does stars, all the stars. He invented a particular procedure around the eyes for people. He will not see people who will not do that patch for 3 months prior and 6 months after.
That's what, okay.
Are so healing. We have a cardiologist in here where I live who has presented to the American Medical Association on 2 or 3 occasions last year. There's an anesthesiologist and a 40-year physician named Dr. Joseph Peck. He says a couple of things I like. One is your health is your greatest wealth, which I actually very much agree with. But he also said this is the most significant medical breakthrough in my lifetime. So what we know what we see with this patch is that it activates the master foundational cells, which I have to say in the United States, you know what they are. It does, in fact, for most people, especially in time, deliver pain relief, reduce inflammation. It elevates your body's glutathione by 30%. We should talk about glutathione later, but glutathione, body's master antioxidant and immune booster and detox pathway. So there are entire books written on glutathione. People who think glutathione is actually one of the greatest deficiencies for those people that are that have autistic tendencies or on the spectrum. So we see incredible results from people on the spectrum that patch with our patches. And I think part of it is because of the improved levels of glutathione. It supports detox. Well, obviously, when we were headed into the pandemic and I had all those autoimmune issues, I was getting glutathione IVs, which, by the way, elevate your glutathione by 27% for a whopping 7 minutes.
Exactly. Not very long.
Great expense. But this patch is elevating it by 30% all day long. So already a huge win. Boosts circulation, it improves organ function, it promotes cellular energy. And, I think really all of disease is a cellular dysfunction. So when you're improving cellular function, improving mitochondria, in fact, we see improvement in the mitochondria within 2 hours of putting a patch on. It's unbelievable, right? We see 4,000 genes reset to their younger, healthier state within the first 24 hours of wearing this patch. We see
but they're not already right to their original state, are they?
They are 4,000 reset to their younger, healthier state.
That's it. Wow. I thought that was a process of
it's a matter of no, that is like reset.
Wow.
The activation of all of your stem cells takes like a month for every decade you are old, and we can only really do a third of them with the patches.
I haven't heard that.
Which is where the water can help, and we'll talk about that later. Yeah. But we'll see enhanced sports performance, which is why the Olympians and the others, and faster recovery from exercise. One of my big issues has always been I couldn't work out too hard because with the fibromyalgia, I would ache for days and I just didn't recover. Everything hurt so much. So now that's no longer an issue. I can work out as hard as I want, improve skin appearance. I had, my whole life, I had such scaly, cracked, it didn't matter where I lived. I live in Arizona now, but I will tell you, I always was lathering with Cetaphil cream, no lotion was even going to cut it. Like I would travel with the little tub right everywhere I went. Within 2 or 3 months, I just was like, oh, I'm so soft. It's like soft as a baby's butt. My elbows, like I no longer have scales anywhere. I felt no longer like a lizard. It was unbelievable how much better my skin looked so quickly. And then we also see improved mental clarity, improved sleep. You know, you can look at a live blood cell analysis, and beforehand it can be all crumpled up and like looking like little caterpillars, like all stacked like pancakes on top of each other, and squunched and not oxygenating the blood very well. And within 24 hours, you see them separated and properly oxygenating the blood. So it's extraordinary. This one patch.
This is still that one patch, right? So we're talking, there's many others, guys, but this is the one.
It's still the X39. And I want to go into two studies. There are a host of studies for X39 alone, and many double-blind placebo-controlled. But two of them I want to talk about because they're particularly relevant to my situation and my husband's and so many people that I see. So if you were to have asked me, you know, do you think that you have, you know, brain inflammation? I would not have thought about it at all. Like, don't know, like, didn't think about it. But when you look at EEG imaging of many brains, there is a lot of red inflammation. And that is a sign of an unhealthy brain, not able to basically communicate between the left and right hemispheres. So brain fog or PTSD or anger or ADHD or even autism, like this is not a good communicating brain. And so there's a study, 2019 SciTech study by Chevalier, who basically showed that before patching, we had brains that were just completely red. And then in 3 weeks' time, the color mapping changed. You can start to see, in fact, you can actually see this on my website, IamReverseAging.com. You can actually see the pictures of the brain. And then you see in session 3, which is 6 weeks later, a whole new color map. And what they found in this double-blind placebo-controlled study is that, yes, they got the elevated GHK-Cu, no surprise. It also supported cell and nerve regeneration in the brain. It improved the nervous system and lowered anxiety. It decreased brain inflammation that's visible, and it improved memory, focus, and cognition. In fact, they found in the study, the more complex the task, the more improvement they saw. Wow. And I think that is why my husband responded so quickly, so dramatically, is all of those reasons, right? And I think that's why my sadness dissipated. I think all of these things were a part. I would not have ever thought sadness could be related to inflammation. Like I just wouldn't, I mean, if you were to ask me, what do I do for, I would have said therapy, EMDR, I would have said, you know, meditation, but I would not have thought reduce the brain inflammation. It just would not have occurred to me. So learned a lot since then. And that was a particularly compelling case for me. The other one, which is probably more aligned with why I don't pass out anymore and why I don't need that medicine anymore, is the study that was done on the vascular system. And, you know, with cardiovascular disease being the #1 cause of death globally, people should really pay attention to this study. In 6 weeks, those people wearing that X39 patch, their cardiovascular system began to function as if it were 8 weeks younger. Right. I mean, GHK helps build new blood vessels, and it helps to promote proper circulation, and it helps the blood from clotting too much, and it restores integrity of vessel walls. So this is an extraordinary finding. And I think it just revamped my entire system, started to get enough blood to my brain, and I didn't need to be on a medicine that increased my blood pressure. And what I love about these patches is it's bringing your body into homeostasis. So somebody with high blood pressure, we see their blood pressure drop. Somebody with low blood pressure, like me, we see the blood pressure regulate properly. So it's just really extraordinary.
Interesting. And this is not one of the patches from 20 years ago, right? This is a more recent
one. That's right. This one has been only around for 5 years. And this is, honestly, this is what's caused the company to just explode, right? Off the charts, the fastest growing company 4 years in a row as a result of this product. And people just not being able to stop talking about it. I mean, this is not I can't even believe I do podcasts. I can't even believe because I was incredibly private. If you knew me 3 years ago, you would not have even known anything about me since high school, other than I had a daughter that graduated from the Naval Academy, and another daughter that graduated from the Air Force Academy. I posted then. That was when I posted. Like, I really just didn't have a footprint. And so, but when I've gone through the kind of medical experience I've had, and my husband has had, and we saw these kinds of dramatic improvements, and not just with them, right? I got, my sister, microscopic colitis for 6 years, and in 3 weeks, it stops. Or plantar fasciitis, in 3 weeks, her symptoms disappear.
Right.
When my cousin had fibromyalgia and was having to basically just gobble 800 milligram Motrin to get through her day as a nurse. No longer needs that anymore, right? Those kinds of, I actually had an aunt or relative who was just extremely sad and lifted out of the clouds, right? So you get to watch these things happen to the people that you love, and then you're like, oh, well, so-and-so. And so, I mean, everyone needs something. Like, there's just very few people who are really healthy or not in any kind of pain.
And it seems though some people seem to respond very quickly and some people seem to take a little bit longer. So it's not always miraculous. I have seen instantaneous miracles in front of my eyes from many people, but I also know people that are waiting, or they don't necessarily realize it until later, but a lot of, some can take longer too, right?
I love that you said that. There's a story that I love particularly about. Have you heard Bob Campbell's story? Do you know Bob Campbell?
No.
He's probably one of my favorite testimonials. He is the sweetest little man. He had 7 foot surgeries and 5 knee surgeries, and all he wanted was his pain to go away. And he was just wearing the X39 patch. And within 7 to 10 days, he noticed his energy levels doubled and he started to feel amazingly better. Within 6 to 7 weeks, his sleep dramatically improved. And he had had sleep issues since he was a sophomore. So this was a big deal for him. And 3.5 months in, his breathing was better after a pretty long-lasting sinus infection. He also had prostate cancer and prostate surgery. He needed a pill to urinate. Without that pill, he was in the emergency room, because he had used this pill for 12 years. At 3.5 months, he no longer needed to take that pill.
Oh, I know somebody would like to hear that. Okay, 3.5 months that took.
3.5 months. Now, at 6 months, his energy's through the roof. He's got improved sight. He's got improved hearing. He's noticing he's sleeping 6.5 hours straight through the night. He is so happy, but nothing on his knees and his feet. Like, he's still in pain in his knees and his feet, and he's discouraged. And they're like, Bob, a month for every decade you are old. So he was late 70s. So he's like, all right. Well, guess what? At the 7.5 month mark,
wow,
all of a sudden, no more foot pain, no more knee pain, no more, I can't say arthritis, so I'll say swelling of joints in his hands. So he could wear his wedding ring for the first time in forever. And then he just kept patching, right? He just kept patching. And 18 to 20 months later, he had precancerous scabs on his hands that were burned off. And there were like hundreds of them, burned off one at a time in something that was so painful. He cried through the process both times. And he said they'd grown back. He did not want to go through this process again. And so he'd been putting it off because he couldn't handle it. He was like ready to die. They'd said, any one of these could grow into very serious cancer and kill you. You need to come back and get them burned off. And he would just be like, I just can't do it. At the 18 to 20 month mark, he looked and realized that they were gone. They had just disappeared from his hands. And then at the 3-year point, he realized he did not need glasses to read for the first time since 3rd grade.
Okay, so 3 years. So see, that's the thing. We have to be patient. But look at that. That's
Cumulative
significant.
effect, right? Yeah. Yeah. And it didn't happen overnight for him. I've patched somebody on their knee and their knee pain goes away. And I'm like, right now it's gone. They're right now it's gone. I'm like, dang. So, but we even his son, by the way, had a spinal stenosis and bulging discs, really bad back pain. And each year he gets a scan done and it's better and better. And we've seen in 17 and a half months, 4 bulging discs and spinal stenosis. The scan looks beautiful and clean and the person is without pain. Things that there's no medicine or surgery that can
Right.
touch. There's just nothing.
Absolutely. And these are all just with the one patch, right? Because the pain, the
No,
first
this
person
is
that I pushed was my mom with the ice wave patches. And literally in 20 seconds, I'm like, so? She's like, well, what am I supposed to feel? I said, well, what are you supposed to, what do you feel? She's like, nothing. It's gone. And she kept on trying to feel where it was, and it was completely gone. It's just,
yeah.
because I was like, I don't know, let's just try it. And here we go.
Yeah. And that is so much fun. The look of awe and like I had somebody,
Disbelief.
I had Lindsay, so talking pain relief, this little 74-year-old woman, Lindsay, who was in excruciating pain and had been for years. And I asked her, like, what is your pain number on a scale of 1 to 10? I always ask that question up front because I want to know when I'm patching, did I drop it to 0 or 1? I'm looking for 0 or 1. I'm not looking for 5. I want to drop it all the way. And so sometimes this, where the X39, it doesn't really matter as much where you place it. There's some good pieces, but the ice wave is a little bit of an art in getting it in the right spot. And if you don't get it in the right spot, it doesn't reduce the pain. But when you get it in the right spot, bam, right? So I asked her, what's your pain number on a scale of 1 to 10? 14.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Right? I
Yeah.
said, well, how long has it been a 14? Years. I said, Lindsay, how are you living? How are you surviving this? And she said, I'm barely surviving. So, we patched her and we did do more than ice wave. We did X39. We did the anti-inflammation patch Aeon, which we'll talk about. I want to talk about the Aeon.
Let's talk about, yeah,
Second favorite
sure.
patch. Well, actually, I love ice wave. I love the effect of ice wave because you can feel ice wave right now, right within a minute. But we patched her with X39 and Aeon on her neck and ice wave, a full body ice wave patching. So 2 on the shoulders and 2 on the bottom of the feet. And dropped her pain to 0 in a minute. And she had tears. Like, I have not experienced that. Well, that whole week she was out at the house and going to concerts with her grandkids and her kids are crying and I talked to her a week later and she said to me, Darlene, it is not an understatement to say that you have saved my life.
Wow.
I mean, my ability to help other people, this has been like the silver lining of Jim's journey. I mean, losing him was horrific, but the ability to take and find a silver lining and be able to share it with other people and get them out of pain and change their life has been the stab to my soul at a very tough time. I do not do this. I don't do this for the money. I have a day job. Like, this is my passion. I love helping people with this, but this is not my job. Like, this is not my day job. I just absolutely get as much as I give out of this ability to refocus, the woe is me mentality and victim because, oh, sad, I lost my best friend and partner of life. But how can I help you? How can I serve you? Let's fix the world. Let's share with the world and help others experience the joy and the benefits of this. And again, somebody who's hopefully looking at it earlier than I know, you asked about, do you think if I stop patching? Well, guess what? My biological age is actually 40. I am 60, but my biological age is 40. Those are your organ health. Like, that is fantastic. And I can honestly tell you it probably was 100 before I started patching.
Well, that's what they say, basically, right? That you're just gonna, if you stop patching, you just start aging from your new reset point and go from that new point.
That's exactly right. Yeah, because it really is doing regenerative healing. It's getting to the root cellular issue and causing your cells to repair, like your master foundational cells made you to begin with. The first two cells that came together that made you, they made your brain, they made your heart, they made your organ. All of you were made by those. So what can they not do? Really? I mean, they made you. So why can't they go fix anything? If they're dormant, sitting there floating around in your body when you're 60 because you haven't ever worn a patch, then they aren't going to do anything for you. But when you start activating them, they go to work, and people look glowy, they look young, they feel better than decades before.
Right.
Not necessarily.
Right. And so now, that's the X39 patch, but that's the only one that is activating those master cells that are going there and cleaning house and going everywhere, right?
One other that does that.
Does it do that?
So no, X49.
Does it do masters? Well, okay.
X49 also, but X49 is elevating where X39 elevates GHK-Cu. X49 is elevating the daughter peptide AHK-Cu.
Yeah.
Now, AHK-Cu is only found in the brain, in the heart, and in the muscles. So this is an amazing patch for someone that has a neurological issue, a cardiovascular issue, or older and needs more muscle. Like my mom and dad, 84 and 89, they need stability and strength. Anybody over 60, your number one cause of death, falls.
Falling, right.
Why do we fall? Because we don't have any muscle anymore, because of sarcopenia. So this is a patch that is second. You don't do it by itself. Like, I mean, you start with X39, but you can add this other one to make sure you don't get to tell the X39, I want you to go activate the master foundation cells in my brain because my husband's got Alzheimer's. I want you to fix that first. It's going to go where it's most important for your body. And you want it to go to the highest priority first. But when I patched my husband, boy, I really wanted to make sure we were activating the master foundational cells in the brain and in his heart and in his muscles. And so that is a patch that is particularly good at improving performance. A lot of our elite athletes love this patch because it's improving performance and energy and strength and stamina. It supports that healthy cardiovascular system, cognition.
And bone density, right? Bone density as well.
Bone density. It improves lean muscle mass. It improves bone density. Also acts as a Faraday cage. Helps really block out, I'm probably not allowed to say that, really blocks out those EMFs. I mean, they've done testing on that. And not allowed to say this either, I don't think, but there are studies that have been done that have not been published that showed that, like the Aeon and Glutathione patches, the X49 helps knock out the spike protein.
Right. So people who have had things put into their bodies, things like that, you need to do a cleanup crew, but also reset your genes. That's a really important thing, I think, in this situation here. So, okay, so that's the X49. And that's yes.
That's right.
That's the one. Those are the two that I wear during the day. I love that combination all the time.
And I'll say I typically start people on, if they have an issue, if they have no issue, they just like, I just want to reverse age, then I'm typically starting them on X39. Just that's it. That's all you need. X39.
Not at Aeon?
Not if they don't have an issue. If they have no issues, they're just reverse aging. That's it. Okay, just X39. But if they have any issue, then they have inflammation. Any issue. I mean, you name it, it's probably caused by inflammation. Inflammation is the root of almost everything, right? And so the Aeon patch is famous for reducing inflammation. It was the #1 best-selling patch before the X39 came out, right? So this is a patch that I love because inflammation eats up stem cells. So I often wonder, when we went out of country and we had 4 injections of IV stem cells, did they just get eaten up by all the inflammation that we had in our body, and so they couldn't ever really serve us? And if I would have known about the patches and reduced the inflammation, would they have been better for us? So if this inflammation is going to eat up those master foundational cells, then we want to lower that inflammation while we're elevating the master foundational cells, and now they can go to work for you where you want them. So that Aeon patch is also just remarkable for just calming the autonomic nervous system, reducing inflammation and calming the autonomic nervous system, calming the brain. It improves your immune system. It is very anti-aging. It helps to balance hormones. And in fact, it does it quickly. In a double-blind placebo-controlled study, they showed that the parasympathetic response actually reduced stress within 20 minutes. And it's called the happy patch because it actually elevates dopamine and serotonin. It is really good at actually lowering some of the harmful inflammatory markers. You would expect that, like C-reactive protein and fibrinogen and homocysteine, you know, words that you're very familiar with, but it also helped to elevate glutathione a little too. So it's a very, very good patch. And so I love starting them with these two pouches out of the gate. And then if they have pain, I add the ice wave. You know, there
But
are.
I did step in with just one story around the Aeon patch. So a friend of mine, she has a client, she does craniosacral therapy. She has a client who is a lawyer. And her stress, she's been wearing an Aura ring, monitoring her stress and her vitals for the last year. And whenever she goes into the courtroom, her stress peaks and stays up, and it stays there for a long time before it comes down. The first time she wears the Aura ring, the Aeon patch, she goes into the courtroom and it spikes and it comes down right away. She says, whoa, this has not happened in a year. But the second time she wears it and it spikes up, but it doesn't even spike up into the upper stress levels anymore before coming down quickly again. She says, I've been trying to do something like this for a year. Nothing has touched it. She could not believe it.
I love
She was
that.
measuring it real time right there. She could see it.
Love that story. I bet if she was wearing a glucose monitor, she would see her glucose not spike as well, right? Because that insulin spike that comes from stress, when we lower our insulin, you know, that insulin response, which if you've ever worn a glucose monitor, you know, you'd be surprised by how much stress
Goes up and
spikes.
down.
Every time you spike your insulin, you're doing damage to your longevity.
Right. Right.
I
Yeah.
love that story.
That's amazing.
I've had people notice within 20 minutes just that they're calmer and they're less anxious. And I love that. I love that patch and I love that study.
I have a friend with a daughter who was unbelievably changed by that patch overnight with anxiety and
Yeah.
all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
And then the 39, because she washed her hands a lot, within a month, her hands, no more cracking and redness, just smooth. Didn't change the habits, but healed the skin.
Yeah. I love that.
Okay. So back to you. So the Aeon,
Yeah,
you said you introduce the ice wave if they're in.
Yeah. And if they're in pain, and I actually I don't introduce ice wave if they're on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 to 5. Oh, well, 1 to 4. 1 to 4, I'm like, you know, I think the X39 and Aeon are going to take care of you. So I would just give it a couple weeks. You should see some pain reduction. If you're 5 to 10, let's get you out of pain. Like that is intolerable, really, right? I mean, let's get you out of pain. And ice wave is not something you wear prophylactically or proactively. It's what you wear when you're in pain. So
Right.
you don't wear that every day. If you're not in any pain, you don't wear it. If you're in pain, now you wear it. And we drop the pain. It has a cooling effect on the body. And it actually drops the temperature of the body in that area by a degree fairly quickly. You can actually see thermal imaging within 5 minutes showing a change in the amount. But we've had studies where 100% of humans experience pain relief an hour after application on day 1, and 3/4 on day 5 had experienced more than 4 levels of pain dropping to the point that they almost had no pain. So it's a really impressive. Now that is not a patch, and it is reducing inflammation, but that is not a patch that's going in and healing. And one of the problems I have, and you may have this too, Sascha, is people go that you show them the ice wave and they're like, I just want that. And I'm like, no.
Right.
You know, you need the X39 to actually heal what's causing that. And they're like,
Right.
no, I just want the ice wave. Well, you'll have to wear ice wave forever. Like you want to go in and actually resolve the root cause issues that are going on for you and get rid of this problem. And I'm probably not allowed to say any of that. But
We're breaking all the rules here, but I always do, so it's fine. It's fine. Okay, some of the other ones then. So, and it's funny, in Canada, we have different names. So we have the glutathione, which you're talking about, but in Canada, it's called Renew.
That's right. Let's
And
talk
the
about Renew.
carnosine is called Advance. So
Yes.
we have to be like decoders in this country.
Yeah, let's do it. So I'm very impressed by the glutathione patch or the Renew patch. It is my third favorite patch typically when although I love the X49. So it's
Hard to choose, isn't it?
hard, but it depends on what the issue. If someone's got an autoimmune system issue, then I'm gonna, start with X39 Aeon and eventually, not right out of day one, but like maybe week 2, maybe month 2, get them started on glutathione. And I start my folks on it like twice a week initially, and the next week 3 times a week, and the next week daily. So basically slowly, because I don't want them, this is a patch that is activating all your detox pathways and clearing them up. And it's your body's master antioxidant and immune booster, but it's also going to start detoxing everything, including heavy metals. So it is really important to go slowly with this patch. If you have not been on X39 for a long period of time, and I don't know that, that 30% bump of glutathione is being handled very well, because that alone can have some detox properties, right? So if you're handling that fine, now we can try a glutathione, but again, slowly. But that patch is fabulous because it's elevating your glutathione levels by 300% on average, and it stays there. Like, this is extraordinary. So the people who live the longest in the world have the highest levels of glutathione. The blue zones, like, this is a very big deal to have your glutathione elevated. Glutathione is known, I mean, look at the books, Google it, protects DNA from damage. It initiates repair to damaged cells. It's really good for reducing inflammation, protecting hearing and eyesight. Super good for increasing collagen, which we probably should have mentioned that.
Oh, we didn't talk about that with X39. That's huge.
It's huge. Collagen is the most abundant protein in your body. So when you're causing your body to make more collagen, that is good for every cell in your body. It's like the little skeletal infrastructure scaffolding of your cell, right? So it's a really big deal that X39 is improving collagen production. Much, much better than anything you could put in a drink or in your tea or coffee. But this glutathione is also not only helping with collagen production, but also it helps to regenerate cartilage. So there are sports doctors injecting glutathione in knees and in shoulders and things of this nature. But there was a study done on all the participants in the study needed knee surgery. They did an Aeon patch and a glutathione patch on their knee and the X39 patch. And they did this for, I think it was 3 months. None of the participants went on to have knee surgery. None. All of them were scheduled for knee surgery. None of them went on to have knee surgery. So
amazing.
Really a big deal. But
so 300% is as long as you're wearing the patch.
Actually,
correct?
The study actually showed it stayed high for a while. So it didn't just drop the next day.
That's what I was, okay. I've been trying to find that info. I'm not sure if I'm reading it properly.
There is a table in the, you can, if you go to my website, you can actually click on the study for the glutathione, and in the table, and in some of the context of the words, it actually talked about how the level stayed elevated even when they stopped patching for a while. So that's really kind of cool. And the other thing is those 3, the X39, the Aeon, and the glutathione. I have, this is anecdotal, a friend who had a red blood cell live cell study, and just every cell, never had the vaccination, never to her knowledge had COVID, but after the live cell study showed spike proteins in every single cell, lots of them. And she was just like, wow, I would not have expected that. Like, we know if you've had the vaccine, we know if you've had COVID that you're going to have spiked proteins. But it's surprising when you don't think you've had any of that, when you haven't had those things, like that you would have spiked. But there's something called shedding, and there are people who say you can get this by shedding. This is out of my area of expertise now. But I will tell you that those 3 patches in just 6 weeks, we've heard 2 months, but she went back and tested in 6 weeks, knocked them all out. And except one was still there and probably on its way out the door. So that was
with the
X39 anti-glutathione.
Aeon and glutathione.
So someone, if we have someone that's got long C, then I will try to get them on that for at least 2 months to knock that out. Now that I'm only recently learning about the X49 doing that, it would do the same, I think, over time. So that's good.
Okay. Oh, amazing. Okay. So now we've talked 39, 49, Aeon, Ice Wave, glutathione. Let's talk carnosine, or for Canadians, advance.
Yeah, let's talk carnosine. So, I've heard X49 is like carnosine on steroids, but I like carnosine because it's so protective of the neurological system. It's also the patch I go to when I have somebody who is trying to protect their eyes, maybe from glaucoma or macular degeneration or some of those things. There are actually doctors that do carnosine drops in the eyes or carnosine injections in the eyes. So carnosine is particularly good for that. I call it my first aid patch. It is a patch that I go to for bumps, lumps, bruises, burns. When I slam my finger in the door, it was 3 carnosine patches that I put on, and my finger swelled up like an eggplant. And I thought, this is going to be bad. Like, I'm not going to be able to bend it. I think it's broken. I'm going to have to go to the hospital tomorrow. This is my typing finger. This is going to be so sad. Then, I iced it and I put 3 carnosine and Ice Wave on it, went to sleep. And the next morning, my finger looked absolutely perfect, with the exception of a little bit of blood in the bottom of my nail. That was it. I could not believe it. So an amazing patch for tissue repair and healing. It's a patch that I would go to for somebody who is just coming out of surgery, for example. In fact, the cardiologist here in Arizona presented to the American Medical Association that the carnosine patch, the glutathione patch, and the X39 patch combined, they improved, X39 carnosine and glutathione, is that what I said? It improved healing 500%.
5%. Wow.
X39 improved at 50%. Speed of recovery, 50%. X39 carnosine and glutathione, 500% faster.
Wow.
500% faster. So I love, and he's got, his name is Dr. Kneller. You can Google him. He has a YouTube that walks through sort of testing that he did on the heart, and he patched like 20 carnosine on the heart, and he got this result that was in 30 seconds better than any medicine actually has ever seen improvements on a heart, and including like volume flow and visible things on a sonogram or ultrasound. I mean, it's a really cool video. So
how do you spell his name?
Kneller.
Okay.
Yeah, he's presented case reports to JICE, and so yeah, really, really kind of cool. So that's kind of carnosine. It's also really good for heart and blood issues. So I think I talked neurological, but I want to make sure I hit cardiovascular too. So, but yeah, do you have Alavida?
Yes. I wear it at night on my third eye. I got it right here. Got the Alavida.
Yeah. So this is the one that I will credit with resolving. I'm not allowed to say rosacea like that. So I don't know how I would describe rosacea, but redness, scaliness, like redness all over my face that dermatologists had not been able to resolve forever.
Wow, you would never know.
Thank you.
Wow.
But I
Yeah.
will tell you, I wore this one for like 3 months and then I ran out of it. And I just didn't renew it right away. Like I just was like juggling a lot of patches and I just was like, oh, whatever. If I don't have this one for a little bit, it's okay. No, it was not okay. My rosacea came back. And so, and it took me another 2 months actually on Alavida to get it to go away. So, even, I've been told by some people that X39 does everything, like in time. X39 would do all of these things of all of the patches in time. I'm not as patient as time would suggest, especially with something on my face. So I love that rosacea not only is gone, or I'm not willing to risk it, but I do, that is the patch that I would go to for improving sleep. If X39 and Aeon alone aren't improving sleep enough, I would choose Alavida next as the patch to
That's what I
help.
tell people too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's having so many benefits. Your skin is your largest organ and it's visible. So we see the improvement of this organ. But it's improving all frontal lobes, adrenal glands, liver, hypothalamus, pituitary gland, thyroid gland, kidneys, pancreas. Like all of those organs are measurably improved based on studies. Like not like I can't go in and tell you, oh, my kidneys are this percentage better, but they can in the study. You can actually see the percentage improvement in the studies. It's reducing oxidative stress. It is really good for stimulating that pineal gland, which is why we wear it on the third eye, some of us, right? And look like a little unicorn. And it's good for mental clarity. And it's kind of marketed as a beauty patch because this is the fine lines and wrinkles, and it increases collagen, and it tightens, and it evens out skin discoloration, which I've seen, like, brown spots just sort of lighten up. And it's the one I think that really made my skin super, super soft, and younger looking. So I get it, but I think when we market it as a beauty patch, we miss the value and benefit of all of these organ improvements. Yeah, our skin is just reflecting all the goodness that's going on inside.
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah, I agree with that. And I was just, I forgot I was going to say something about that, but I forgot now what it is. But never mind. I'll think about it.
Okay.
Oh, well, and just let's talk about the peptide that it's elevating, because it's elevating in the biohacking world. There's a synthetic peptide that people are injecting, right?
Epitalum. There's a whole book on it. Actually, I don't have my books handy right now, but it's elevating the epithalamium peptide.
Right. So that's the natural peptide that's produced in the pineal, which the biohackers are injecting as epitalon or epitalon, right?
Yeah.
So, and also age reversal, like it does have impact on the test as well. Yes.
It does. It's a very strong patch. It's a really lovely. I mean, you can see why. I mean, we're not even through the list, right? But you can see why I went, oh, I want that and that and that and that. And that.
So hard to choose. I know.
And I was like, I don't have time with my husband to figure out what combination and what order. We're just doing it. Like, he never, how we didn't have massive detox.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Yeah.
I think that's a testament to how clean we were living at the time and how much we had done already, including ozone therapy and all of the things like daily, my own ozone machine. I mean, we did a lot.
Oh, okay. Well, that'll clean house.
That'll clean house.
Yeah.
House, yeah.
Okay.
So then, I think, what are your energy enhancers called? Spark?
ENR Spark.
Spark. So that's what these two are right here on my wrist, actually, here and
here. Okay, yeah.
And if I had any kind of congestion, they would be up here on my lung, right here. If I have cold or pneumonia, because it turns over the lymph system. But these are the first patches invented, and I love this story because I was in the Navy for 20 years. So, I love that they were invented by our founder for our U.S. Navy SEALs. He was in a very special Black Ops mission to help them in submarines and such. But they needed something to keep these Navy SEALs awake for days at a time without it being amphetamines and bad drugs, right? So David invented these energy enhancers, and they were experimented on first by Navy SEALs and very successfully so, and they increase energy and endurance and reduce fatigue and muscle soreness by improving beta oxidation or energy production of the cell. So this is improving fat burning, it improves mitochondrial function, it in fact burns an extra 300 to 600 calories a day. It helps the other patches be 30% more effective. But it's also good at, improving nausea, congestion in the lungs, phlegm, drains phlegm. I mean, just a lot of really fabulous turning over of the lymph system stuff. So I think so much of our issues are mitochondrial health issues. So I love this patch. But I will tell you, when I wear them, I'm interested in your experience when you wear them. It's not like a shot of caffeine or espresso. It's not like an energy drink. It's like Energizer Bunny energy all day long. It's just, I've got it, the get up and go till the moment I take them off and go to bed. Like they just really do the trick for me. I just don't need an afternoon nap. I don't need a little pick me up. I don't need anything. I just keep going. How about you?
Yeah, it's more sustained energy. I don't wear them a lot, but I have one and I feel like it's just a more even sustained energy. But what I want to do is test them in a case where I need to be high energy.
Yeah.
And I haven't really done that in that situation.
Or test them when you go to the gym. These were the first ones that the first, 2008, this is what the Stanford swim team was wearing. This is what the Olympics, Michael Phelps, those guys were all wearing.
Exactly.
When they broke all the records and they won all gold. So that's a really great patch for performance as well. But
yeah, I was just going to say a story because I have a friend who owned a gym about 20 years ago, and somebody came in talking about them, and that's the patch that they had. That was it. And she had said they worked incredibly. Energy in the gym, strength gains, performance. She said they were awesome. They totally worked. So she's back in again now with the whole. Oh, is this the same one that was like 20 years ago? I'm like, yeah, that's them. Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I love that. Another patch that is worn on the spleen point 6, a lot, let's talk about this for a second. A lot of our patches are tested in the lab on acupuncture points. Our meridians are like fiber optic networks in our body, right? So, we are communicating. This is a communication system. What we're doing is we're communicating to all of our cells to do their job better, right? The original way. I mean, I like the analogy, particularly with X39 and the resetting of the genes, that if you took a print job and you printed it from the original, you get a copy, and the copy's pretty good. And then if you did a copy of the copy, it's not as good. And the copy of the copy, right? And that's what's happening over time with our genes. So that at the end, 60, we're finding the copy of the copy of the copy of the copy. That is no longer very clear in its communication and instructions of what the cell's supposed to do. So resetting it to its younger, healthier state means we've gone back to the original photograph, and we now have a copy. Now we've got the original again, and we've got all the good instructions. So it's really powerful. So we find that we get particularly great benefit when we're placing these patches along the acupressure meridians. So a lot of our lab studies will find them in those places. And then there are different protocols. I always say if you have a hurt shoulder, yes, the X39 can go in the back of the neck or below the belly button. So can Aeon. But I would tell you to put X39 right on your shoulder.
Right there. Yeah.
Right there on the spot. Patch the spot that hurts the most. So we find that does it repair that faster? Maybe. Does it reduce pain better? Yes. Like we just find it. And the other thing that's interesting, Sascha, I don't know if you've heard this, but one X39 may not knock the pain out. 2 X39s might knock the pain out, and 3 X39s often knocks pain out. So stacked like pancakes.
Okay.
I've actually seen it just disappear. So
one on top of the other? Right on top. Okay.
Yes. Now that blows my mind, and I don't really understand how that works, because feels to me like you're taking that lattice structure and you're messing it all up. So I don't
Yeah.
it, but it apparently has a focusing effect, and it really has a very powerful effect. So that was from a chiropractor here in Dr. Nicholas Tivoli. He demonstrated that for me and for a lot of people, actually. And we had a person that went up there and they had leg pain, and he patched one, didn't take it away. Two got a little better, and three knocked it out. So it was just kind of he did that with several people. So I was like, wow, okay. Anyway, so good to know. But the spleen point 6 patch is one that you would put on spleen point 6, which is on the inside of the left ankle, 3 fingers up from that ankle. That is a patch that it's kind of marketed as our kind of like our Ozempic patch. Like, it is the patch that helps knock out cravings and hunger and sugar cravings, and it's a very subtle. It's not, I don't think it's nearly as powerful as like one of the retatrutide or some of the things that people are taking. But I will say that it does have a subtle effect on reducing sugar and hunger cravings, and even drug and alcohol cravings, actually, naturally. And it has just amazing effects on the endocrine system, improves organ function, hypothalamus, intestines, digestion. It's good for the autonomic nervous system. It's good for a lot of things.
Intestinal health seems to be a good one. That one.
Intestinal health. I agree.
And
and hormone balancing, thyroid and hormone balancing.
That's what I was going to say. My best friend is funny because she was putting it on the inside above the ankle. And I was like, you are like, she was already losing weight before, but I was like, you are skinny. She barely didn't need to eat. She was just so satisfied. But then she put it on the other point, because there are a few that they suggest, and there's the one below the knee. And then that, because she wanted to do it for hormones and hot flashes. And that just turned them off like a light switch.
Awesome.
That one. And then there's also, I think, another point. And she finds she has to, every few days, she'll switch to the one point and then to the other point, and then it keeps everything at bay.
Nice.
And it goes away. But it really changes her appetite when she puts it above the ankle there.
Yeah. Well, this was a patch I also ran out of one day and just didn't. Here's the problem when you start the way I started with everything. You don't really know what each patch is doing for you. Right. You're like, stop, right?
Yeah.
So I ran out of SP6 and didn't have any in my backlog at the moment. And I was like, oh, I'll order that at some point. But I noticed, I'm a huge pistachio fan. So I love, love, love chili roasted pistachios that are already shelled, like in the bag. And I could eat those till the cows come home. But I noticed that when I was on SP6, I would just eat like the normal human being. Like a handful, right?
Yeah.
No, when I was out of the SP6 patches, I ate the entire bag. The entire bag. I just sat there and ate the whole thing. And then I called my sister and said, do you have any? Like, it's just crazy. So I did really notice that it made a difference for me on the hunger and the sugar craving.
Wow.
So that's really kind of funny. And then there's Silent Nights. I think that's the same name.
It is the same. Yeah.
Probably my least recommended patch, because I don't find we need it in the end, because X39 helps so much with sleep, Aeon helps so much with sleep, Alavida helps so much with sleep, and those have, great other benefits too. Silent Night does too. I mean, it actually naturally regulates sleep. It resets circadian rhythms, but it takes like 6 weeks to do the job. Very few people wear it one night, and now some do, but it takes more time to have its results. But it is actually resetting circadian rhythms. It's elevating your body's production of serotonin, yay, and melatonin, also yay, one of the most powerful antioxidants in our body. Yeah. So that's a great patch as well. But again, for someone that has severe sleep issues and has been on Ambien like forever, again, start with X39 and Aeon, and then
that's what I say too. It's the only one that I actually haven't bought. I haven't bought the Silent Nights. I have all the other ones, but I haven't that one. And that's exactly what I say too. There's so many other benefits from the other patches, and most people definitely notice a shift in their sleeping habits, especially I find with the Aeon, but also Alavida. I've seen, because I don't know anybody who's just done X39, but I've noticed with the Aeon definitely, and
Yeah.
including my husband, and also the Alavida. But I hog the Alavida because
Yeah.
you can only buy so many patches.
Well,
But
they haven't really said this, but when you take your patch off, your 12 hours are done. We patch pets, and we have miraculous stories on pets. Like my girlfriend, Julie, her mother has a dog who is like 15 years old and was just lying in the dog bed, not able to walk, like limping on a foot, barely making it to the food bowl, would eat like a tablespoon of food, not even a quarter cup, would limp back to the bed, and that would be it. Like they'd have to lift her to take her outside, to have them go to the bathroom and then bring them. I mean, it was just sad. And they were talking about, okay, when do we need to put her down? Like it's time, right? And and I reminded Julie, I said, Julie, have you tried patching her? And she's like, oh no, I'll tell my mom. So her mom took off her X39, put it on the inside of the dog collar. The next day, this dog is up, ate the whole bowl of food, and was running around.
way.
All the relatives are looking. I mean, these are people that have, very little exposure to the patches, and they're like, what is going on? I mean, this dog has not been like this for 10 years. Like, this is unbelievable. And the dog is still now running around like a baby, like a puppy, and doing great. So we've had cats on deathbeds, dogs on deathbed, goats, horses, you name it. We have testimonials on patching animals, and not necessarily with new patches, used patches. There's still a little life. I actually sometimes, I don't know if you do this, but like I'll take off my energy enhancers, I'll put them on the counter. And sometimes the next day I'll just put extras in my pocket because there's probably a little bit of leftover juice in there. And if I didn't need a whole new set, or sometimes just extra. Sometimes just extra.
Yeah, that's actually how I started. Because I'm like, oh, there's nothing going in you. I'm going to take yours once you're done with them. So talk to that, because people are like, well, how are they using up? What's going on? Why won't they last?
Good point. So the lattice structure starts to break down with your body heat and light, and so it at some point stops working. It's just no longer reflecting the light and causing the elevation of whichever peptide that particular patch is doing. So when does that happen? Well, the COO out in Ireland will tell you 12 hours it's guaranteed for 12 hours. You cannot count on it for any more than 12 hours. But we have lots of testimonials of people who put it on pets after 12 hours and are getting great responses. So there's a little something left, right?
Right.
So, depending on body heat and who knows, you can there are people that I'll hand a set of Ice Wave to, for example, and I'll say, wear them until they die. Like, wear them 24 hours.
Right.
They're never going to hurt you. They'll just break down and die somewhere along the way. You don't have more. It's not like you're going to, we should speak to the best efficacy is 12 hours on, 12 hours off based on studies. More than that, your body stops responding to, like any light therapy, your body stops responding in a way that's productive. It's like, oh, I'm so used to that light, I'm ignoring that signal now. So we want to give the body a break, so it doesn't get used to the patches. And so that's why 12 hours on, 12 hours off. And it doesn't have to be perfect, 14 hours, 16 hours. Basically, I patch in the morning when I wake up, and I take them off. I patch when I brush my teeth. I take my patches off when I brush my teeth. I put my night patches on then, and I swap them around in the morning. So it's not a perfect science, and that's okay, but just giving the body the break helps. Yeah. But at some point they're not working anymore.
Does the SP6 elevate a peptide?
I haven't been able to see that it does. I have looked for information on that one, and I don't know.
I can't find it either.
Yeah, I don't know. I watched a great video on Cellergize. Would you like to talk about Cellergize?
We don't have it in Canada, but I have people everywhere. So all we have are the patches and the face care. So
okay. So
okay, let's talk about Cellergize and the water quickly, and then we'll start putting it up.
Okay, that sounds great. So I was already taking 9 of these things in a pill form when Cellergize came out as a powder. And I'm so grateful because now I get to drink a lovely tasting powder that has Synthox or seed buckthorn fruit extract that
Okay.
actually is famous for activating stem cells. And I actually can say that with that. It, it also has L-glycine, it has creatine, it has copper. If you don't have copper in your diet, you can't make copper peptide.
Yes.
So, there are times that I have someone who just isn't responding in time, and I'll say, try a copper supplement, 3 milligrams of copper glycinate,
Yeah.
and they will start to feel the, but I have a lot of people say, well, do I still need my nutritional supplements? Yes, you still need nutrition. You still need the ingredients to bake the cake and have your body do the thing. These aren't injecting anything in you, right? There's nothing going in the skin. So your body has to do the work and you need the nutrition in there. So Synthox, glycine, creatine, copper. It's got vitamin C. It's got magnesium. Everybody needs vitamin C. Everybody needs magnesium, selenium, L-lysine, L-citrulline, potassium, beta-alanine, NAC, zinc, and fiber. So unbelievable lineup of very well-sourced supplement in a powder. And this is sort of known to immediately help just your body feel better because it's optimizing the pathways and it's optimizing your nutrition so that the patches can function.
Exactly. Some key amino acids there to support AHK and GHK-Cu, and then the NAC to support the glutathione elevation,
It's
right?
providing antioxidant support. It's supporting the production of glutathione, supporting GHK-Cu and AHK-Cu, immune
Right.
function, cellular health, all of these wonderful things for health and wellness. I mean, most people need all of those things anyway. Even if you weren't patching, this would be a great supplement
Right. Right.
powder.
Okay. Okay. We can't get it, but maybe you can wherever you guys are that are listening right now, especially if you're in the States. I don't know if it's elsewhere other
No, I think it's going to come out probably by the time this podcast gets published, but around October, I've heard end of October, for public consumption.
Oh,
Some of the brand, for at least the United States, some of the brand partners right now, they've done a slow rollout of, top to bottom brand partners that have been able to. So I have a water machine. It's called an X2O. And this is the best water on the planet. It is water that's charged with hydrogen and infused with 6 wavelengths of light, which when you drink it, the light is actually released into your body, and that changes the electrical charge around the cell. That actually promotes youthful cellular function, and it triggers regenerative mechanisms in the cell. They found it achieved 2 to 3 years of cell reversal in 10 minutes.
10 minutes.
10 minutes. And we can see that because, older cells are sort of shrunk and they look withered and they're not as fluffy or as much volume of water essentially. And, younger cells are fluffier and they have more volume. So they've done 7 studies on the X2O machine. David has actually released webinars describing the results of those 7 studies. 100% of participants have had positive impacts. In one study of 80 people, and they're measuring this, by the way, through blood tests, microscopy, thermal imaging, biopulsar, and they're measuring across organs. Oh, I should say, it's probably a no-brainer, but this filters out heavy metals, microplastics, chlorine, forever chemicals, pesticides, herbicides, it's best filter on the planet. So of the 80 people tested in this particular study, one person's results were within 2 minutes, 79 in 15 seconds. And the results we're seeing are things like enhanced longevity, like telomeres, improved cell health, and I could list, mitochondria, energy flow, increased oxygen in the cells, decreased biological age, all of these things, improved cognition. And what I heard David say is massive improvement in brain, improved spatial awareness, and then boosted metabolism. Every major organ system in the body was improved. Resolved or dramatically decreased pain, relaxation, improved blood flow, heart health, and HRV. Increased collagen production and skin, breathing, physical performance, muscles, reduced inflammation, and amino acids. I literally, from the moment my water machine arrived, Sascha, it's been a party at my house because I have people driving 20 minutes across town and getting a glass of water or two. You only need 1 or 2 glasses.
That's what I was going to say. How much do you need to drink?
One initially, and 2 is sort of max dosage. Like now, I may or may not have a little more than that, but you don't need to, right? I figure it's the best water I have in my house. It's the best filtered water I have in my house. And if I'm sitting here with a cup, like this is X2O water right now.
Okay.
And I haven't been drinking it, right? It's just been sitting in this cup. All the light is gone. I mean, if it's been out of there for like an hour or 2,
right? Yeah.
Got all the light in it. It's still good, clean water, but anyway, yeah. So it makes it makes 32 ounces every 45 minutes. So,
oh, I see. Okay.
So I basically am like, okay, I'm like a traffic cop at my house. Can I come over for water now? Yeah, you can come over in 15 minutes. The clock is going and someone just left with, 32 ounces of water. So I went to my chiropractor today. I brought him a 32 ounce jug in a dark cobalt blue mason jar.
Okay. Yeah.
And I hand it to him and he's like, oh, magic wand, thank you. And he chugs it. He just, you basically want to chug it and get that light in as fast as you can. So really, it is upregulating aminos like sarcosine and serine and glycine, and people feel the difference. I have really felt the difference in my energy and just a difference in my brain, and I feel really good. And
when did you get it?
I got it about 2.5 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, so not very long.
Okay.
Oh, it's new, and I'm excited to see what incredible. But I had a test recently, like last week actually, and they were comparing July tests for me, all these different types of tests, from mineral to heavy metals to all these things, to last week. And the doctor is jumping up and down with 2 of her techs and saying, I have never in my entire life seen this kind of improvement ever. Like, that's like a year's worth of improvement in 2 months. What are you doing? And I'm like, I told you I'm a very good patient, first of all, but second of all, I've been drinking LifeWave water. I've been drinking water. And yeah, so it's a really incredible. And it'll get to you in Canada, Sascha. It will, and it will. There's a movie coming out, probably in
Right. Mickey Willis, right?
Yeah, famous. What's his name again?
Mickey Willis.
Mickey Willis, very famous, right? So it's going to be really fun, all on David and all. I think ultimately we're going to be a household name, and yeah, it's an extraordinary company with all heart.
The question with the wavelengths that are infused in that water, are they different wavelength than what's in the patches?
No idea.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
No idea.
Just wondering, because I did hear him do an interview on one and say that you're still going to need the patch, and the patches are also at a much more accessible price point.
Yes.
For people than the
That's
X2O machine.
That's right.
Right. But I was just wondering.
Yeah, I mean, in the United States, the X39 patch purchased through getting it wholesale pricing is just $99 for a 1-month supply. Incredibly reasonable. And the other supplement, the X39 is that much, and the X49. The others are just $49 at their cheapest if you buy them in a kit, or if you buy them in groups of 3. Otherwise, they're $69 a piece, right? But this water machine is like $5,000 for brand partners, 6,000 for non, you'd become a brand partner to buy it. So why,
Oh,
you know,
well, you would, for sure you
but
would.
yeah, but then with shipping, it's probably like 5,500 by the time it gets to the door. But
So for us Canadians, that's like an ouch.
it is an ouch. I know, because the dollar, right? That's going to be it's going to be
Terrible.
a hit. But I will say, I think it's going to change. This is the Hail Mary for people that, I mean, I have heard stories that I'm not allowed to say, that are just mind blowing, from very, very big entertainer, movie star,
Mm.
singers, who were having very severe issues, to not having those issues anymore, to end stage bad C word kinds of
Yeah.
things that are no longer, as a result of the. So when I say Hail Mary, I know I mentioned to you, like, I was trying to get my hands on one of these for my husband,
Yeah.
where they were out. Like, this was my only last hope. And I was hoping to get him in a pilot study or a beta study or something, because I knew it was so good for the brain. And I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so it is going to be transformational for people.
Absolutely.
I just hope doctors' offices start carrying it. Like, I know my, you talked about cranial, what'd you say it was?
Cranial
Cranial.
psychotherapy.
Yes. So I have an osteopath who does that and who patches, and he is going to get one for his office. And so I just hope more and more people get them for, chiropractors and holistic integrative thought. They're going to be, just hand anybody one glass of water. People can sometimes feel a difference or have some improvements. We've seen foot pain go away that was, years, and we've had headaches disappear and all sorts of things happen right away. So
Amazing. He is quite the inventor, and he's continuing to invent. He's not stopping there, right? There's more and more
yeah.
on
Yeah,
the
he
dock.
just launched his new company on drones. His drones clean the air as they go through. They fly farther. They carry more weight, and the air that comes through and goes through the exhaust is cleaner than the air that went into the drone. There's a whole fleet of them that was just launched in, I think it
And are
was
you being used for what?
for humanitarian efforts.
Okay.
So they're taking in food, water, patches to areas of, it can fly in hurricane winds. It's the most sophisticated drone on the planet. And it's just, something else, he invented with his son. Like, he is so brilliant. He really is like Tesla. Like, he's just extraordinary.
Well, he also is very humble, saying he gets inspiration,
Right.
right, from source, line, whatever, and then just goes with it. Because I mean, the X39 did not just turn, that was 10 years in the making.
10 years and working with the best university in the world on stem cell research.
Right, right. So fascinating. Okay, so guys, now I'm gonna make a little announcement here. So this is something that I've known about for 4.5 years, and I ignored it because it is a product of network marketing. So this is something like, no, 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 don't talk to me. I'm never going to do this again. Until my husband got a double hip replacement on May 1st, and I looked to anything and everything to support his best quality, fastest healing possible. And then I finally freaking looked into these things, and then I realized, holy crap, wow, I am like, oh, of course, I've got them all. I'm fully into it. And I learned to really judge the product and the ethics of the company, not the means by which it was being distributed. Because it's funny when you look up things, just the nonsense that people say, but this is just the most effective way to get dedicated people sharing the message. So I'm pretty sure what you've heard today, could help you or somebody in your family or a friend. We live in this world. This world is not the world that we used to live in. It is dirty and stressful and all sorts of things going on. And so for me, why I love this so much, because I teach a lot of classes and I try to do everything we can with the basics, like the minerals, to activate our own healing intelligence. We are divine beyond, I think, anything that we will ever understand. We have the capacity to regenerate and heal. So for me, what I love about this so much is that it's reflecting back to you your own light. And as long as you have the raw elements to produce what your body already has the ability to produce, then why wouldn't you enhance it? It's like supercharging your own capacity to heal and regenerate and then regulate itself as well without throwing things on and off. Quickly, by the way, Darlene, have you ever heard of anybody having negative results from these?
I've had people detox. So I've had people have a detox headache or exhaustion, and that just means we need to slow it down. You have a lot of toxins, your body's starting to dump. If they're not drinking enough water, like we say, you need to drink half of your body weight in ounces in water. So, I mean, one of the reasons that this is better this way is that you can have a Sascha or a Darlene hold your hand through the process and say, well, how much water are you drinking? Are you drinking half of your body weight in ounces? Let's slow down the X39. Instead of 12 hours, let's do 6 hours. You have an built-in consultant to walk you through the process. If you were just buying it off of, a GNC shelf, you would do what I did, which is, oh, well, I'll just try all of these and I'll put them all over my body. And honestly, that could be disastrous, really. It could really give you
for a lot of people. Yeah.
detox effects, right? That's not a good approach. You really do want somebody who is knowledgeable about which patch and what do they do, and maybe you go slowly with the glutathione, right? You do want that hand holding. So it is better this way, and it's an incredibly reputable company. There's a reason, like it's ranked AAA and Bravo Awards and fastest growing because of its integrity. I love the integrity and the heart of the company.
Huge.
It's really,
Absolutely.
really beautiful.
Yeah, and in the short time that I've been involved, I've already done several Zoom calls, several public talks. I've been to an event, and it's so exciting to hear people's stories. People like at an equine, a chiropractor that's in Cochrane, not too far away from us, and his story. So the fact that you can't placebo a horse, right? I mean, that what more proof do you need? But even just people right around me, the instantaneous results and the longer term results that we are expecting, but also some like my friend, she's like, well, I've noticed this and this, but that's what it. She's like, what am I talking about? Then she's like, my skin is so soft. It's softer than it's ever been. I've not even been moisturizing. I've been so busy and it feels so amazing. So she's like, yeah, there is this and there is this. And the thing is, people forget.
Yeah,
right?
they do.
They forget.
They
So
do. And you often will hear people tell these amazing, miraculous testimonials. Like, well, I don't have that problem, but if it can do that, like, I'm just going to share this one. Vicky, my dear friend Vicky, open oozing wound in her neck for 10 years.
What?
Open oozing wound, gushing gunk for 10 years. They did a year of antibiotics. They did a year of steroids. They've tried everything. At the point in time when she started patching, she had an abscess cyst in her jaw and her mouth that basically they said, we need to cut out the bottom 2 teeth here. We need to cut your jaw bone out. It is going to collapse your face. We'll try to restructure and make you look a little more normal again, but there's necrosis in the gum line. Your lymph nodes are swollen. We got to get this infection out. We're going to cut it out. She just was like, no way. No, I am too vain. I'm not having you cut my face apart. It's just no. She patched, and in 3 months, open oozing wound was closed up. Necrosis was gone. Lymph nodes were no longer swollen. Abscess cyst gone.
What did she use? People are going to want to know.
X39, Aeon, and glutathione.
Wow. That's incredible.
Right? Every time she sees me, she cries because she's like, Darlene, you don't understand. 10 years, this was so embarrassing. She has a tiny little pink heart scar on her where it. Now, I will say this. It started oozing gunk first. Like it didn't just like close up.
Well, it has to.
It actually got stuff out first. But she just was like, this is doing something. And so she stuck with it. And it was 3 months. And I think what you hear people talk about mostly is they're exhausted. We're not meant to live exhausted. We're not meant to live in quiet suffering. We're really meant to shine and to serve and to feel fully alive. And I just don't believe that investing in your health is a luxury. I believe it's the down payment on every dream you ever dared to chase. everything you ever wanted to do. This is an investment. $99 in the United States, a little more in Canada, for one patch. That's all you really have to do if you're willing to be patient and patch a month for every decade you are old. If you're impatient like me, or you
Or
want
me, then you get like all of the.
patch for two.
It's so exciting. You have to. They're so exciting.
Yeah. I mean, what do I not want to have? Like I like
And
all
you don't have to be ill or obviously ill to try these. For me, I think that's even a more exciting place almost to try. I mean, goodness, yeah, let's get people out of discomfort. But I want to see, this is why I do what I do. I want to see what's possible in this lifetime. We're not meant to spend all the time trying to get well and to fix things. We are here for a purpose, and that purpose is far beyond just surviving.
That's right.
So
And don't you agree, Sascha? If you don't make time for your wellness right now, you're gonna be forced to make time for your illness.
oh, absolutely.
Oh, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's like right now we need to be building muscle. Whatever age you are, right now you need to be building muscle because you're gonna have it decline, and your amount of muscle is gonna be really aligned with your longevity and stability and quality of life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So what is your daily patch protocol? What do you do?
So
all the time?
I do everything every day.
Wow.
Except ice wave. I don't need ice wave. Now there are days I take a break, every now and then. I just don't patch at all on a day just to give my whole body a break for a moment. But I like during the day I wear X39 an Aeon back of the neck or below the belly button. I wear glutathione usually below the belly button. If I have any kind of like I'm at the gym and I hurt something, then I patch that spot. Then I have to remember that I patched that spot and remember to take those off because sometimes if you forget, it's no big deal. I just skip that patch that next day. Like it's no big deal. It's not going to hurt you. I wear the SP6 on my ankle and I move the energy enhancers around. If I'm wearing something here, if I'm wearing something covering here, I may put my energy enhancers here, or I'll put them here or on the back of, or I actually wear them on the bottom of my feet. Sometimes I really like that. And then at night I wear Alavida, Carnosine, and Silent Night. And I'm not as I sometimes forget those. There's just I crawl into bed. Sometimes I've taken my patches off, but I forget to put them on, and I'll lie in bed and I think, oh, I forgot to patch. Oh well, it's like okay. But I will tell you when I track, when I look at my metrics, I do get better deep and REM sleep when I'm patched than when I don't. And I went from somebody who, when I was trying to get my husband deep sleep, when I say we were working on deep sleep, this was a serious endeavor. I took a class on how to get him better deep sleep because that's when the brain cleanses itself and things the opposite direction. Well, so we put in red lights in the bathroom so that when we went on at night, we dimmed everything. We did a chili pad. We would make the air conditioning really low so it was cold. We wouldn't eat three hours before bed. We got our eyes on the morning sun.
Wow. We did it all.
We did the things.
Yes.
15 minutes of deep sleep was what my husband was registering after all of those efforts. I was trying to cry. And in week 2, he got an hour and 20 minutes of deep sleep just from the patch.
Wow.
So I was like, woo. And similarly, like I do notice a difference.
Yeah. And you've been doing it now for how long?
So it'll be 2 years in February. So is that right? 2 years, 2 years in February. So not just a year and a half. No, that can't be right. It must be 2. I lost track of time when my husband.
Right, I get. Yeah. It's been a lot.
Actually, I think it was 2 years in February. It was 2 years in February. So I'm a little over 2.5, I think now.
Right. Nice. Nice. Oh my goodness. Okay. So folks, if you want to get involved, the best way to get involved is if Darlene brought you, contact Darlene. If you're hearing this through me and you want to support me, people always ask, how do I support your podcast? Well, this is a way because I am doing this now. So you don't have to, But that would be nice. If you're going to do it, you're going to do it anyway. So Darlene, what is your website again?
I am reverseaging.com. I am reverseaging.com, and you can just reach out and email to me there, and I'll walk you through it. And Sascha can hold your hand through the process too. Either one of us, honestly, for us, it matters less like who you go to, but more that you get patched and you take care of your body and you take care of yourself, and you give yourself this opportunity to heal. You think you're fine, but you have no idea how good you can feel when you start patching. It is remarkable.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think
Best
this
thing you can do.
time, yeah,
As someone who's tried everything and then some, I mean, I can tell you.
literally, like literally, a lot of people say that they've tried everything. No, that's different. I mean, going out of country,
Yeah.
20 grand a pop,
Yeah.
all these things. Yeah, that is.
And we owned the pulse electromagnetic frequency, the microcurrent, the ozone there. I mean, we owned the hydrogen and everything, the infrared sauna, everything is like $3,000. The hydrogen water machine was $3,000. The infrared sauna was $3,000. The pulse electromagnetic was $15,000.
Wow.
We have spent the money, and I would have mortgaged the house to save his life, right? And so when I tell you $99 for X39, like honest to Pete, you can't, it's so much better to prevent or to get early and start getting your body to nothing heals better than your body. Your body is wired to heal. It has it built in, and we play God as doctors sometimes with white coats thinking, oh, we can do it with this drug or we can do it with the surgery. They don't know what they're doing, really. They are not your body. They're not as wise as your innate.
Not as wise as your body. No. And the people that we go to advice, I always ask people, like when I talk to people, because I work at a shop a few days a week, and they're like, well, I'm going to check with my doctor. And I said, well, okay, but why? Do you think they've spent 30 seconds studying this? Like, what kind of opinion do you want to get from someone that has never, they haven't earned an opinion in the first place?
Yeah, you just ask your doctor, how do you feel about light therapy? Is light therapy okay? Sure. It's like saying, is it cool if I eat at a salad bar? It's like kind of silly, but go ahead, but just ask them about GHK-Cu, ask them about light therapy, but they're not going to possibly know about them. Or there's a call I don't know, Sascha, if you've ever been on the Doc Talk call every Sunday night.
I have not.
It's a fabulous call. It's got like 1,000 people. There are 15 doctors. There's cardiologists, neurologists. There's podiatrists.
Oh,
There's pediatricians. There's chiropractors.
okay.
I mean, it's just a really great call. And what I love, like, if you have someone who's like, I'm Western medicine, I need to hear it from a doctor, get on that call, because you're going to hear from a lot of them that are using it in their practice or outside their practice, because they know it's making a difference. And that's a really informative and great call. And I'll share with you the information on that.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. Yeah, because there's definitely a lot of health professionals. Actually, one chiropractor here locally, there's a former very famous hockey player who lives in the city and she had no idea who he was. She thought he was just a golfer in pain. I'm going to be interviewing him after golf season is over. I have to wait for that. And then he'll give me the interview, because it literally changed his life in 3 weeks, from pain to mobility to mood, depression, like all sorts of stuff. She didn't even know, but she's just like, let's try. She's a health professional. She's a chiropractor. And a lot of the health professionals, when they see it, they're like, wow. So for people that need that validation, I don't know why. I mean, a chiropractor is not your usual family doctor or anything. For some of them, they still see them as quacks. But if you need somebody with that, there are a lot of people. I mean, just think of the surgeons that Darlene was referring to earlier. Right? They require their patients to be on it. So if you want to know, contact me at sascha@sovereigncollective.org. My Instagram is Sascha with the Sascha, Sascha K Says on Instagram, or Sascha Calvote on Facebook. We've got Darlene, I am reverseaging.com. There's ways we gotta also, I think this is really important too, because we have to retain the wisdom on this planet. also is we have to bring our young up stronger and healthier, but also as we age, we're not meant to break down and die. Like we are our focus on our health. We have amassed all this wisdom now we need to share. So let's stay strong and healthy together so that we can change the tide of the way things are going because these days, whew, we need all the help we
Yeah,
can
we
get.
really want quality of life, right? Not just longevity, but we want quality of life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Okay, Darlene. Well, this was fantastic. We went way long, but that's okay. I think every second of this was really important, full of very life-changing and interesting education here. So I really appreciate your time. Hold on the line. Everybody, check the show notes for links for websites, emails, whatever. Check in the show notes. I know they're not linkable on YouTube, but they make you give your firstborn child to do that, and I'm not doing that. So find them or contact me and get on it. Give it a try. You have nothing to lose and only everything to
Oh, there's even a money back
gain.
guarantee, and we're in 82 countries. We didn't even say that.
Right.
80 countries.
82, and literally millions of people are
Yeah,
using this.
yeah.
Millions of people are using these patches. So, right. And I didn't even know about the money back guarantee. I kind of did, but I don't really know about it. So, okay. Well, there you go. So,
Yeah.
but don't expect the miracle on day one because I know one doctor
Oh,
like,
yeah.
ah, it didn't work. He used one
Invest
patch once.
Yeah, invest 6 months to 9 months before you even think about quitting.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, guys, be sure to share this around. I look forward to your feedback on this. I hope some of you reach out to either one of us. And with that, be well, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us.